Hey, Charles Hoffman here from Plugin Alliance. Today, I'll be guiding you through the features of the Bettermaker Bus Compressor plugin and sharing some tips on how to get the most from it when mixing and mastering your music. This plugin is based on the Bettermaker Bus Compressor hardware unit, which is a VCA compressor that you can use to control the dynamics of audio material. If your vocal bus levels or drum bus levels are jumping all over the place, you can add the Bettermaker Bus Compressor plugin to smooth out those level inconsistencies. It's great for preserving transient material and adding punch while gluing your mixes together. It delivers the warmth and vibe that makes raw studio recordings sound polished, tight, and put together. To demo the Bettermaker Bus Compressor plugin, start a free Mega Bundle trial using the link below. This will give you access to the Bettermaker Bus Compressor and all of Plugin Alliance's other products for 30 days. I'll play you some audio examples so you can hear how this compressor sounds, and then we'll dive into it.
Let's roll it back to the days when I felt alive, Let's roll it back to the days when I had the drive and my dreams were mine. Let's roll it back to the days when I felt alive, Let's roll it back to the days when I had the drive and my dreams were mine.
The Bettermaker Bus Compressor hardware has grown very popular amongst professional mixing and mastering engineers because it uses a 100% analog signal path that's digitally controlled. This means you can save and recall presets, which is a huge time saver if you work with clients. You don't need to write down the settings that you used for a session or take a picture of your gear. When you buy the hardware compressor, it includes a plugin that you can use to change the hardware settings from within your DAW. If you've applied the plugin to your stereo bus, it will update the hardware with the appropriate settings and run your mix through the outboard gear. This plugin doesn't provide any sort of signal processing, it simply handles the saving and loading of presets and routes your audio to get processed externally. The plugin we're looking at is not that plugin, it's a new one that doesn't rely on the hardware, provides an enhanced version of the sound delivered by the hardware, and applies all the processing in the box. It also includes some added features not found on the hardware that I'll point out as we get to them. If you've used other VCA compressors, the threshold, ratio, attack, and release knobs should be familiar. The threshold knob adjusts the level at which gain reduction occurs. As you drop the threshold, more gain reduction will be applied to the signal, and you'll be able to see how much gain reduction is being applied on this gain reduction meter. The ratio knob controls the intensity of the gain reduction applied when it breaches the threshold level. Turned to the left, you can expect gentle compression, best suited for smoothing out vocals, compressing certain instrument groups, and mastering. Turned to the right, you'll hear heavier compression being applied that you can use to tame peaks and aggressive vocals, add punch to drums, and squash room mics. The attack knob affects the way in which the compressor responds to transient material. A short attack time will cause the compressor to respond quickly to transients, clamping down on them immediately. If the snap in a snare drum is too harsh, you can use a fast attack to catch that piercing transient and massage it into the mix. A long attack time allows more transient material to pass through the compressor unaffected. When I'm adjusting the attack knob when processing drums, I'm thinking, how snappy and punchy do I want them? As soon as I find that point where they sound musical and glued together but still have an impact, that's where I'll leave my attack setting. The release knob controls how quickly gain reduction stops being applied to the signal when it drops below the threshold level. A fast release is best suited for transient material like drums. It can make them sound big and punchy without introducing pumping effects. A long release is appropriate for sustained material like vocals or strings. You end up applying a broader form of compression that manages to keep the level of long notes more consistent.
Let's roll it back to the days when I felt alive, when I felt alive. Let's roll it back to the days when I had the drive and my dreams were mine. Let's move forward and figure out what I can do to make myself feel better. Let's roll it back to the days when I felt alive, when I felt alive. Let's roll it back to the days when I had the drive and my dreams were mine. Let's move forward and figure out what I can do to make myself feel better. Let's roll it back to the days when I felt alive, when I felt alive.
There's an auto-release mode that allows the compressor to set the release time based on incoming musical content automatically. Sometimes this feature works great and totally nails it. That said, these controls are subjective, so use your discretion. Try auto-release mode first, see how it sounds, and then fall back to manual release mode if you want to try other options. The ratio, attack, and release knobs on the plugin are a little different than the hardware. They provide more options. The attack and release knobs turn smoothly between values, whereas they're stepped on the hardware. If you're used to using the hardware or want to simplify the options in front of you, you can click on the B icon in the top left corner and select Step as the knobs type. The ratio knob will be limited to 3 values, and the attack and release knobs will jump between values. Moving on, there's a mix knob that allows you to apply parallel compression. It controls the blend between the uncompressed and compressed signals. It's quite common to parallel compress your drum bus. Heavily compressing your drums and mixing in the unprocessed signal lets you combine the powerful impact of the compressed sound with the snap and clarity of the uncompressed sound. You should typically match the input signal's loudness with the output signal's loudness. This helps you focus on changes in dynamics and character rather than changes in loudness when you bypass the plugin. Adjusting the gain knob will allow you to do this. The sidechain section lets you filter the signal running through the plugin's sidechain circuit. When a signal enters the compressor, it's split between 2 paths. The signal running through the first path is affected by compression, and it's the signal that you hear. The signal running through the second path, or sidechain circuit, is analyzed by the compressor and used to determine when to apply gain reduction. If you high pass the sidechain circuit at 500 Hz, the compressor will be much less responsive to low-end transients. This can help prevent pumping effects. This filter doesn't cut away low end from the signal that you hear. It affects the sidechain circuit. You can listen to the sidechain signal by clicking the Sidechain Listen button. The boost button applies a bell filter boost to the mid-range of the sidechain circuit. This allows the compressor to act like a de-esser, responding more aggressively to frequency content around 2 to 5 kHz, controlling the sibilance of vocals and hi-hats. This feature is unique to the plugin and not found on the hardware.
Let's roll it back to the days when I felt alive, when I felt alive. Let's roll it back to the days when I had the drive and my dreams were mine. Let's roll it back to the days when I felt alive, when I felt alive. Let's roll it back to the days when I had the drive and my dreams were mine. Let's move forward and figure out what I can do to make myself feel better. Let's roll it back to the days when I felt alive, when I felt alive.
If you'd like to route an external signal into the Bettermaker Bus Compressor's sidechain circuit instead of using the internal signal, click the external sidechain text. When you set up another track as the plugin's external sidechain source, the plugin will respond to the transients in that signal rather than the track it's been applied to. A common use case involves applying your compressor to a bass track and then routing a kick into its sidechain input. Every time the kick plays, compression will be applied to the bass. You end up introducing a pumping effect to your bass that sounds natural and opens up space for the kick. The VCA Total Harmonic Distortion section can be used to add subtle saturation to your mix. It's not just a generic saturation algorithm, it's modeled based on the saturation applied by the VCA in the Bettermaker Bus Compressor hardware. A lot of Plug & Alliance products have a THD knob, but depending on the hardware that's been modeled, you'll get different sounds ranging from subtle to heavy and distorted saturation. Turning up the THD knob increases the amount of harmonic content that gets generated, and you also have the option to adjust the blend between the saturated and unsaturated signal. Finally, you can choose between a peak detection or RMS detection mode. Peak mode is intended for tight dynamics control and is great for taming aggressive drum transients. RMS mode provides smoother compression that's ideal for sustained sounds like pads, basses, and vocal textures. At the top of the interface, there are multiple presets to choose from. You can undo and redo changes to plugin parameters. There's also the option to toggle between 4 views, A, B, C, and D. If you want to compare settings to see how they affect your sound, navigate to a new view, make your changes, and then toggle between views. It's also possible to try variations of an existing view by copying and pasting those settings to a new view. If you want to reset your settings to the default values, you can click on Reset. To hear how the Bettermaker Bus Compressor sounds when applied to the music that you make, get the demo by starting a free Megabundle trial using the link below. You'll get full access to all of Plug & Alliance's products for 30 days. If this video helped you out, give it a like and subscribe to the Plug & Alliance YouTube channel for more plugin walkthroughs like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.